Hi, it's Laura, community artist here. This time I'm reading the Wikipedia article about the Temple of Apollo at Delphi. And I was reminded that one of the common themes that I keep seeing as I think about this idea of autistic women in history who were mostly ignored, but every once in a while somebody listened to one of them and it was a big deal. That's the vibe. That's what's happening. That's the idea that's in my brain is that looking back through history, there are a lot of weird women who either during their lifetime or after their lifetime were recognized as having a lot of wisdom one way or another. A lot of times in the context of a one religion or another, or in the context of art, or in the context of something that they created, but they're always weird. They're always women, or at least they're not always women, but I'm only talking about the women because I really don't care about the men. And I'm going to try to continue to center the women in any story I tell because what the men or the male gods or the patriarchy is doing around these women, I'm going to try to ignore. I'm going to try to use that as context, but like that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about what was happening to these weird women in history. What were they experiencing? What were their lives like? The ones who were not supported, who masked, what were they like? How did they experience the world? And those ones who were weird and listened to, is that where we got a lot of this wisdom? Is just from a bunch of autistic women with great pattern recognition who were well supported and somebody finally listened to what they were saying and wrote it down? Is the collected wisdom of women, is the mitochondrial DNA, is the hidden matriarchy that's underneath this patriarchy, capitalism, fascism situation that's happening up here on the surface. Is the matriarchy underneath being maintained by the weirdos, the weird women, the autistic women, the neurodivergent women, the slightly too emotional women? We've been here the whole time, waiting for when we are needed again, for when the world is ready for our wisdom again. We've been saying it all along, we've been sharing it, people have been writing it down, etc. Everybody thinks it's a good idea to like go take care of each other and whatnot in theory. But maybe now that capitalism is starting to be recognized as evil, maybe now that patriarchy is starting to be recognized as ineffective for the well being of the planet, maybe it's time to go back to the matriarchy. I don't want to be in that. I don't want to be a matriarch, but I suggest that we go that direction. That seems like a better plan. Um, the shirt I'm wearing does happen to align with this idea, coincidentally, as these things keep happening. Paul Wellstone, who was a senator in Minnesota a while ago, before I was a Minnesotan and knew about him, said, "We all do better when we all do better." Hmm, what do you think? Comment, tell me, start a conversation. Tell me your ideas. Is it time? Will it be time during our daughters' lives? Our granddaughters' lives, maybe? It may not be in our time, but I think it's time to start. I think we got to start really moving intentionally in that direction. Patriarchy is falling, and they're done, and it's time for us to go ahead and step back up now that they've worn themselves out in the way that women are used to doing. Once the noise around us calms, we step in, clean up the mess, fix the problem. Women of color have been telling us that we needed to do this for centuries, maybe millennia. Women who have not benefited as much from the patriarchy as white women. White women have benefited greatly from patriarchy, capitalism, fascism, all of these things love to take care of and honor white women. But in order to do that, we've got to trod on everyone else. So let's knock that off. Recognize the immense privilege that we have of being on this pedestal that we are, fellow white women of the world. And if we can do that, especially if the weird, autistic, creative, white women can listen to me and then stop listening to me and turn around and find a woman of color around you to listen to instead. She knows what your community needs better than I do. And yes, it can be that simple. You don't need to find a woman of color who has big ideas. You don't need to find a woman of color who you have any special connection to or anything. And you don't need to ask her for anything. You do not need to add to her burden in any way. What you need to do, weird, white, autistic lady who has good intentions and wants the world to be better, watch my videos, go find a woman of color around you in your community, and do whatever she says. Trust her completely. Start your relationship with her from a place of knowing that she has wisdom you can never learn. She has expertise you can never achieve. The amount of studying you do, the number of books you read about this topic will not give you lived experience. It doesn't work that way. You can't read yourself into lived experience. I cannot jump into someone else's brain and adopt their memories of microaggressions that have happened for the last 40 years. There's no way that I can conceive of what that feels like, accumulated, stuck to someone. But I can listen to whatever they say, whatever they are trying to teach me, whatever they have the capacity to teach me. I can value whatever they're doing as being more important than whatever I'm doing. Listen to the women of color around you and do what they tell you. Period. That's it. That's the whole advice. That's all I got for today. I'm not sure where this started or what I will title this video, but maybe I'll title it "We All Do Better in a Matriarchy." Maybe. Side note, when I talk about matriarchy and patriarchy, there's discomfort because I'm very aware of how binary that is. And I wish that there was a word for, you know, rule by non-binary individuals, by individuals making up mostly the middle of the gender spectrum. I wish that there was a word for rule by those people. And maybe there is. And if so, teach me, please. I don't know. Non-binary archy. Maybe that's what we need. We'll get there. And if we don't, our kids will. And if they don't, their kids will. We'll get there. The planet will survive. The good people will still be here. There will still be good people on the planet in 500 years. There will. The planet will still be here. There will still be animals and plants. We'll still be trying. But to get there, to get to a good place in 500 years, we need to start now. So, shall we? Let's. Okay? Love you. Bye.